on the side, overlooking Meta, and then Sorrento is down there. This is Meta. You ever think you're in the side of Mordor? Where are we going? We don't know. We don't know. We just found a little path. Gonna take it and see where it leads. Maybe into this olive grove. Anybody else sing to themselves? Why not make life a musical is my question. If you can make life a musical, do it.
Baby DJ.
Come around this little corner. See the ocean. It's not the ocean, it's the sea. Oh, it smells like duty. Look at all these olive trees. Oh, you should pick some, honey. So I can't really tell, but this is pretty steep. And then they have all these nets to help catch all the olives that fall. Oh, look, this is like the entrance to the olive grove. See how steep it is? Shayla's having to walk like lean back. Lean back. So we were just up, we hiked to the top of that mountain view and it was beautiful. And then we found this little side path right off the street. We were like, Google Maps does not show this way. Let's see what happens. And we were kind of afraid we were like trespassing, but we weren't. There's plenty of doors to different properties on either side. This is an actual road, but that's why sometimes you just gotta go off the beaten path, even if it's off of what Google says.
I'm gonna go over there.
So if you look for it, there are a couple sandy beaches along the way. The cliff sides of Meta.
We could have totally come over here. They even rent.
Beautiful.
But look at the cliffside. Those. I wouldn't want that rock or that house.
Oh, that looks ominous. That looks like kale. Are we supposed to be over here? I don't know, but it sure is beautiful. That moment you find some like crazy ruins that's not marked off or has any people around it, but you know you found something amazing.
This has to be pretty old.
We found some creepy, crazy things. So we're not gonna stay long. We're gonna go. But if this is the last video you guys get from us, we were happy and we were in Meta. Do you ever get the feeling somebody could be watching you from a distance? I kind of feel like that. We keep seeing bones. I just saw a red bone. Okay, no joke. Seth just found this large bone and shotgun shells. Maybe we shouldn't be here anymore. I think that's somebody's home. Look at how beautiful that moss is on the rocks. Man, I want to go in there. So we're scanning this beautiful cliffside. And then we look and we're like, wait a second, there's legit like an apartment or a house carved into the mountain. How crazy would that be to live there? Like into the mountain, like it's not a separate structure building, but like in the mountainside. What? Quick little wine tip. If you like kind of cool, expensive wines but are very cheap because you're in the region where they're actually made, try that little, it's in Meta, it's not in Sorrento, but it's called Sorrento Coast Wines and Spirits, and it's literally like just up the street from our hotel, and the guy is very knowledgeable. He will tell you anything you ever want to know about all different kinds of wines and where exactly they came from and the kinds of grapes and all that stuff. But like we bought 2 bottles. One was 16 euros. The other one was like 12 euros. Where, you know, back in the States, they are probably like $40, $50 bottles of wine. So that was cool. So the streets here are so thin that they have this light at the bottom of the hill and then another light just like it at the top of the hill that counts down, and it's just enough time for that certain amount of traffic to get down through those little one vehicle at a time streets, and then once they get to the bottom it turns green and then they can go up. And we were trying to figure it out because the first day there was like cars trying to fit going both directions and they were honking at each other, and we were trying to figure out like what in the world is going on. And then we realized it's because somebody had gone when it wasn't their turn to go, and so it was making traffic stop. But that's what that really long traffic light is doing, is it's counting down from when at the top of the hill gets down and passes, then they can go up. And that, my friend, is a giant piece of bread. It ain't nothing small. Woo! Wow. This is all like underground, so it definitely got covered. Wow. Still excavating. If you notice, this is all underneath the city line. So that's the city line up top with all the newer buildings. And then this was all underground, underneath this actual. Wow, that's so cool. 79 AD was when Vesuvius erupted. Herculaneum was actually founded 400 BC. So for some perspective, there is Mount Vesuvius, and this is how far away Herculaneum was. And a lot of the house roofs were held up by wooden beams, and because it got up to 700 degrees, the wood beams just like incinerated, which is why a lot of them have no rooftops now. There's a couple of them where you can actually see the incinerated beams are still there, but that's how far away Vesuvius was. And people did try to leave, but they did not leave in time. That's what filled this hole right in, is that rock. See how well preserved everything is? I guess in Pompeii it's not preserved like this nearly as well. Dang, that would be one big pot. Yep. They left their clothes on the shelves.
They would make it to go.
A small bath. Yeah, they think so. I think today's actually the perfect day to come because it was like, it looks like it's like trash, but it's not. It's ancient pieces of stone. Today was actually the perfect day to come because you're not hot and not everybody's trying to get in the shade, so it's perfect. So do not lean on ancient structures, please. Oh, it's so cool. Blacksmith shop. Original wood. This is a large tavern.
You know where to find me.
Pomegranate. That's crazy. Pomegranates. Look at these. They're so ripe that they like popped open. All over Rome, you see these water fountains. It's actually clean enough water to drink from. So this would have been in the center to collect rainwater from the ceiling. So this is how far down they have to dig in order to find Herculaneum. And they are still digging out lots of Herculaneum. More than 300 skeletons have been found. They tried to take piggy banks, amulets, jewelry. So there was an earthquake in 62 AD, and Herculaneum had just started rebuilding its city and replacing a lot of the things that have been damaged. And then Mount Vesuvius erupted in 79 AD and just decimated it. But a lot of the buildings had just been quote-unquote remodeled at the time of the eruption, which might be why a lot of it is preserved so well. So we did not end up going to Pompeii, but I would highly recommend Herculaneum. It's barely been raining, but we spent a good couple hours here, and it's been overcast the whole time. But it was just amazing. There were so many good things that are still preserved really well. Might be because there had been an earthquake 12 years prior to Vesuvius erupting. So they had just remodeled a bunch of their stuff. But you can see some mosaics still intact. So yeah, it looks very well preserved here. And I heard Pompeii is not that well preserved. So if you're trying to decide between Herculaneum and Pompeii, definitely recommend Herculaneum. Shayla found they're chocolate Pringles at the store. She calls them chocolate chips, but they look like chocolate Pringles. That's amore. It is our last day in Meta, which is just barely outside of Sorrento. It's kind of a smaller town vibe. The pros and cons, I would say, and maybe Seth can help me out with this. Pros would definitely be that it's lower key. You can go out in front of the hotel and there's not just swarm after swarm of people. And that we have our own private beach. No other hotel along the entire shoreline has its own private beach. The cons would be that every time you want to go somewhere, you either pay for a bus, taxi, which is pretty expensive, or train, of course, to go to Herculaneum or places like that. So pros and cons. I do think if we were to come and stay, we would never stay in the city center of Sorrento, that we would come and stay back at the same hotel we are now, the Alimuri, I think is how you say it. I don't know how to say it. By the way, back to tips from several videos back. Go to the grocery store, buy your own stuff. It's a heck of a lot cheaper than having to go out every single meal. So yeah. Those are the pros and cons, I'd say, of staying where we stayed. Of course, in the city center, you don't have to worry about traveling, but you just have a lot of people around you all the time, so. Arrivederci, Meta. Thanks for watching Journey of Three. Ciao for now. And who dat? Oh, that's my hubby. Just kidding, I didn't. Look at that beautiful coloring. It looks fake. The pose would definitely. The That's amore.